me now?
Yeah, I've got you now. Yeah, that's perfect.
Sometimes it's easy as that. Sometimes it's easy to fucking plug something in, right?
I was looking at your IMDb and your acting credits line. You've got 125 professional acting credits. So you've constantly been working since 1986. How do you find yourself to keep motivated whilst constantly trying to work? How do you motivate yourself to keep going out there and keep working and getting jobs?
Those credits are mostly from 2005 forward. The ones that happened before then were accidental. I was a professional hockey coach up until 2005, actually. And anything I did as an actor was strictly accidental. It wasn't like I was any good at it. I hadn't applied any effort becoming good at it. I just, I was full of shit. And sometimes being full of shit's all you need, Like the Wheaties commercial I did. Have you seen the Wheaties commercial?
Yeah, I've seen it, yeah.
That kid never had an acting class a day in his life. He just showed up, played hockey, ate cereal. That's all I did. There was no acting in there. I wouldn't know. I didn't know what, I was a hockey player and I just got lucky and I got this commercial. So what, you had a question. What was it? Sorry about that.
Yeah, no, it's fine. Talking about hockey, actually, I know you used to be an ice hockey coach. I've actually just started recently getting into ice hockey. We have a London team called the Haringey Huskies in London, in England. The hockey teams ain't that great. I'm not going to lie.
I always came to Scotland to play. Years ago, I played professionally in Belgium back in the early '80s, and then I had we had won the Belgian championship, and I made friends with a guy who was running a team up in Scotland. And I had a choice between that and going into Italy or France. So I think the food and wine are better in Italy than they are in Scotland. No offense intended. I mean, haggis is great, but
So who's your team? Who's your ice hockey team?
I don't really follow teams per se, because teams don't last. Guys move around so often that you can't. But I like players, so I follow. Like I love Patrick Kane. He's like my favorite player to watch. Connor McDavid. I'm a big Sidney Crosby fan. Love Pavel Datsyuk when he was playing. I like the high skill guys who have an element of what I call wee. They just have fun. Guys who are just having a lot of guys like Kane and Datsyuk and even this Austin Matthews in Toronto. They just have this ease. It's like they're having fun, Then you have guys like McDavid and Crosby. They're just, they're just better. They're just physically stronger and more skilled. They're just so I love them too. I follow players more than I follow teams right now.
Yeah, no, of course. Now, with the whole COVID pandemic, COVID-19 is completely global. So many countries, especially in England, we've gone into a tier 3 lockdown again. We've had 2 lockdowns and still nothing solved. I know you guys, it's rumoured to be filming Burn My Money. I know you've got a part in that. So has that stopped filming, or has it been temporarily put off? Or are you guys still going ahead?
I mean, it has changed my industry irrevocably, probably forever. But here's the thing, and here's a word I use a lot. I use it when I was a coach. I use it for myself constantly. Adaptability. You are only as strong as your ability to adapt to the circumstances. So things change constantly. Your body changes, your ideas change, your context changes. So having the ability to adapt to what's coming next is the biggest muscle that we need to develop as human beings. And many times we stop developing that adaptability. They want it to be this way. It's got to, well, guess what? That train left, man. That bus is gone. You better catch the next one, because may not be pretty when you're left behind. And so for me, I've taken the opportunity to start his live stream. That's a direct result of the epidemic. I never would have done. I wouldn't have time to do this. It's got me back into writing music and doing more short form acting work. It's required me to develop a studio where I live. So I'm like, it's like this is a studio with a bedroom in it. It's really it's an office with the studio now, and that's, you know, that's changed. And but the autonomy it's given us is remarkable. You know, I'm building a voiceover booth in the other room pretty soon, and at some point you may not ever have to leave. I shot 3 movies from my house this year. There's a movie coming out called 92. You will see this office in the movie because we shot it here on that camera and on my iPhone, and it's a full-length feature film. It's going to be a huge release, and that's changed everything. I mean, those who adapt quickly will always prosper. Those who can see opportunity in every circumstance, no matter how dire it looks. You know, the worse it is, the more opportunity exists. When things are great, there's not much opportunity. But when things are really shitty, there's opportunity everywhere if you're willing to look at it and not judge it. So, okay, well, what can I do in this circumstance? How can I fix it?
Yeah. Now, I know that when I was looking for your IMDb, I saw that you've been in CSI, Hawaii Five-0. Obviously, the massive thing, especially as a gamer, man, I'm a massive fan of the Black Ops franchise. What's been your favorite one to date? What's had the most impact on you as a person?
Oh boy, as a person, I approach everything. I mean everything, with the same mindset. It's where I put my thoughts, there goes my life. So everything is the same. Washing my dishes is the same as winning the VGA for Character of the Year for Woods. It's kind of has the same. It's something I'm doing next. You know, of course. Well, I don't know. Man, washing dishes is really rewarding because it's instantaneous gratification. You make a movie, it could be years before you see something. You know, it could be, you know, literally doing dishes. It's done. I've accomplished it. So everything has a value. In terms of what projects have I done, I've been lucky because I came to the game late, and I have been forced to really take jobs that I get. I mean, I take whatever comes my way, basically. And a lot of times I get hired just because of whatever personality traits I possess. That's allowed me to explore things. My favorite gig probably was the 2 times I went to Tokyo. I shot 2 movies in Tokyo, and it was I have never. Yeah, I lived in Belgium for a while. I lived in Paris for a short amount of time, but this was different because back in the day when I was living in Europe, I was younger and I was kind of dumb, and I'm a different kind of dumb today. You know, I'm still trying to figure shit out, but my stupidity has adapted as I adapt. So does my stupidity. But being in Tokyo, it was just a culture shift. European and American culture are very similar. You know, I mean, I speak a little bit of French, so you know, and it was very similar. But when you go to Asia, it's a different culture. It's a different, especially Japan, because it's an island, and on an island, that it's like everything is really that sort of efficiency. Like they don't waste anything. They don't waste anything. They eat the whole fish, the eyeballs, the bones. You know, they don't waste anything. I really see trash or litter in Japan. So I found the discipline and the accountability to be exceptional, and I love that. I love discipline and accountability are my 2 stalking points. You know.
Yeah.
And that was great. And a movie called Cold Water was a very rewarding film for the subject matter and the opportunity to do that film. Of course, Call of Duty has led me to talk to guys like you. So, yeah. Hawaii Five-0 was fun because we shot in Hawaii for 2 weeks. I'm in Hawaii for 2 weeks, running around with a gun. I mean, come on, man. It's like I get to play for a living, which is magnificent.
Yeah, that's exactly that. Did you know when you got the job for Call of Duty, did you think it was going to be as big as it was, and especially your character? I mean, your character especially is so important in the storyline, and it completely blew up over different versions, Black Ops 1, 2, 3, you know, it completely blew up.
I had no idea. I had no idea I had no understanding of how big the video game industry was. I took it, you know, I almost didn't take the job. My manager at the time had to convince me because it wasn't Woods. And it wasn't for the game. I was hired to test the new technology, and then they kept me on to actually to test the some levels for the game. You know, they have to have green lights. They have to basically they shoot a level, make sure it works, and they got to show the boss how to spend their money. Then they kind of cut the check to shoot the game. So I had no idea what was going on and how big this universe is. It dwarfs the film business. But I had no idea until I started showing up at events like the beach when I went to VGA and stuff. I was like, gee, this is massive. And then I started going on these other events. Like, oh my God, I better sharpen my game here,
So do you know? I know some actors if they watch themselves back on film or they hear their own voice and stuff, they get a bit cringed out. First of all, do you play the Black Ops? Have you played Call of Duty Black Ops?
Oh yeah, I have. Yeah.
And do you cringe at the fact that you're hearing yourself, or do you quite enjoy the fact that you got to this place where you're like, holy shit, I'm on a video game and it's globally?
No, it's again. How to explain this? What do you have a job? What do you do? What do you do?
Yeah, I work in an office. I just work in an office, 9 to 5 in an office.
What I do is like you going. It's my job. It's what I do.
Yeah.
So it's not that I know what's behind the magic curtain. I know what it takes to get things done. It's not nearly as glamorous as people think it is. In fact, it's the opposite. It's a lot of times it's really is a lot of drudgery, a lot of technical work. That being said, I have the gift and the weight of seeing things differently because I know what's going on in a different context. Like I know the guy who made this level. I know this animator. Oh, I remember when we talked about this. I remember, they changed that. So I see things in the game that basically it's going to be very few people will see because I know so much about the game. I know so much about the story. And then when I had given the opportunity to actually get in and start writing on it, do some writing work on it, and helping to shape the narrative and definitely shaping most of Wood's dialogue. When they did that, let me do that. I was, okay. I remember this line. This line. The guy spilled the coffee on his. So I have other memories. So I'm playing it with a memory of how we did it, and that's what they did. Oh, look at that. They took that version, took that take. I wonder why they didn't take that take. Because we do several takes of each line. So, and I vary them up greatly sometimes. So a lot of times, they chose that one. So I play it with a much different perspective. Have you seen any of my gameplay commentary things? I have like 3 or 4 on my channel, and they're kind of funny.
Yeah, I've been watching all the videos on your channel as well recently as well, building up to
it's like I'm really bad at the game. I have no skill whatsoever. I don't have time to develop the tactile capability to control it. I just can't. And I tried the PC. That's even worse. That makes no sense at all. So I grew up on Pac-Man. A little non-man. But so when I play it, I have the privilege of knowing things that, and I talk about it. And I make fun of myself. I'm really bad. I mean, there's one. With the caisson level, I can't find my way out of these sandbags. I don't know how to get out. I keep running in a circle. Where the fuck are we out of here? And I go and somebody shoots me. It's pathetic.
So how long, from start to finish, maybe especially the first one, how long did it take to film all in all? When was your job done and the game was then released after you finished working on it?
Okay, there's 2 answers to that. One is technically speaking, I did about, I can't remember, maybe 60 days on Black Ops 1 because we had they had me, it's an ongoing thing. It took I think I started first filming in February and my last day was sometime in September. So it took a while. And then again, you shoot some stuff, and then they process it all, and they come back and you reshoot, they do more. So it's an ongoing thing. It's always evolving and changing. And so that's But for me, it feels as if it's been a one long single job that started in 2009 that's kind of even going on today because I'm still talking to you. So the character never really left me. And, you know, we rolled right out of Black Ops 1, almost right into Black Ops 2. And then Black Ops 2 came, and that carried for about, you know, we're doing USO tours until middle of 2014. So I was still actively, even when Black Ops 3 came out, we were still busy with Black Ops 2 functions. And then, you know, we had that one dip, and then Black Ops 4 came, winter of 2018. Actually, it started December 2017. So it never really was much downtime for me off the game itself. I've been actively either studying for the character or working on research for narrative stuff. Yeah. What is the narrative? So it's been like an 11-year gig for me.
Well, first of all, I think you deserve it. What I want to ask as well, you've been in obviously the Black Ops franchise. You've been with in every single game that's come out of the Black Ops franchise.
Three. Part of 3.
Listen, there's been 3, and Cold War's just come out. And what I don't understand personally is why. I mean, I don't know how much further they can go with the Black Ops franchise on the Call of Duty games. Why in the hell did they not have you on to do the new one? It doesn't make sense to me. You've been it over a decade.
It's a mystery. It's true. I think there may be a handful of people who know. I don't know if they don't owe anybody an answer. They don't owe, maybe the fans, they owe it to you guys, maybe, because there seems to be a lot of people who are questioning that decision on their part. From personally, I have nothing but gratitude towards Activision and Treyarch. I never met Raven, so I can't talk about them. But they gave me an opportunity to really stamp on a character. Really, like Woods basically embraces my personality traits in a way, you know, and it's so flattering to think that they're trying to actually replicate that. Have somebody try to replicate that performance. So I take it as a form of flattery. Like, shit, we really built a great character. If they're trying to get someone else to do what I did. And I really feel, you know, it's kind of tough for that new actor coming in because he's got, you know, it's just kind of not fair. You know, everyone is used to this, and then he's got it, you know, and he's not really built like this. That's not his, you know, he's acting, and he did a good job. But when, you know, I'm actually doing a video of some alternate lines that, okay, here's what I think I would say here.
Yeah.
You know, I'm not going to say this. This is what would come out of me. And I'm working on a video to do some of that stuff now because I get asked so often to do it. So you know what, like the Onion thing. If you follow the Onion thing,
yeah, I've been
I get inundated. Like I literally have hundreds, if not thousands, of emails and contacts every day between Instagram, Twitter, and YouTube. I have hundreds every day. Every day I get fresh 100, and I try to answer. I try to read everything. I read hundreds of pieces of contact every day. I can't respond to all of them. I just can't. I mean, it's impossible. I kind of do a speed read and read. You know, a lot of it's repetitive. You know, it's like, you know, oh, I love you, Amber. And every now and then I find one that's really interesting. You know, but so I get a lot of repetitive, that question, like what happened, and you know, what would Wood say here? It's like with the Onions, they kept inundating me with all these Onion memes. I said, fuck, you know what? Fine. You guys want Onion memes? I'll give you some. And that kind of was fun. And that blew up, you know, that came out, this Charlie Intel picked up on, like, you know, Burns is mocking. No, I didn't mock anybody. I'm just doing the lines that the fans wrote, you know? So it's tough. I mean, it's people just, I'm like a lightning rod sometimes. Like it's hard to say, you have to say things in a way that keep me from disturbing the water, so to speak. But what are you gonna do?
Exactly. Now, my last question to you is you kind of just tied into it a minute ago when you talking about your social media. Being on the Call of Duty franchise, what did it do for your work? Did it gain you more work and you met a lot more people in the industry that you were able to do more work with? Like you said, you're doing your own films. And did you think that you have as many fans as you did. Like your YouTube channel, it's massive. It's absolutely massive. All the videos there, and it's great content. Did you think it was going to be as big as it did, and how much did the game actually help your career?
The game itself is a zero-sum event. So for every gig I got, because I was Woods, I lost a gig because I was too recognizable. Because wait a minute, that's too much like. So I've lost a lot of jobs because again, my voice. That's not affected. That's how I sound. This is what Woods sounds like. This is how I talk.
Yeah,
That's why it's so organic, and the vernacular is mine. Hey, dipshit, that's how I speak. And again, we had the ability to build Woods to kind of replicate me, only me, instead of being at 2, I'm at a 6 or 7, but it's still me. I'm not really acting much.
yeah.
So that's very recognizable. And it's got me jobs and it's lost me jobs. It's a zero-sum game. So the answer is yes and no. Yeah, it's helpful and it's hurtful. I think that kind of washed itself out. In terms of the social media, that has never been my aim, is to be popular on YouTube. Man, I'm not a kid. I can't put the amount of work it takes to be on Instagram or on Twitter. I don't have, like, my Instagram channel, it's set up because Lily of Buckingham, who played my daughter on a show called Dirt, she's like, you don't have one? So her and Caitlin Maitland, they set me up an Instagram account at lunch one day. That's why I have it. If they weren't friends of mine, playing my kids, and they didn't take a liking to me, I wouldn't have an Instagram account because I just wouldn't take the time to do it. The Twitter was the same thing. I had a PR person who recommended it. Hey, go ahead. But I didn't know how, and the YouTube thing was just fun because I had some great content and I have like a sense of humor. And what it morphed into, I really like the fans. Like I was a hockey coach for 25 years. I really enjoy talking to the people who are building their lives, like building their platform, like you're young, you're building a platform for yourself, and I love having these conversations. That's the coach in me. And the YouTube channel is morphing more into it went from being, Black Ops centric to now it's Sarge's Corner. And now it's kind of branching out to different things. I just started a link to, I'll do Woods acting class. It's going to be a Woods exercise class. There's going to be things that we're expanding into that, because the Woods character for me has always been about supporting the player. And as a coach, I always try to function from the idea of positive reinforcement. Like, shaming people doesn't get you. Defeating somebody is never useful, because then they're going to have to rise up and defeat you back. So you try to make allies. How do you, and even with your workouts, with everything that you're trying to accomplish, it's not something you want to defeat. I'm gonna kick this. No, I want to make an ally. I want to have a relationship with the subject I'm studying. I want to have a relationship with the individuals I'm working with. Even if you're, even if you're having a competition, you make a relationship with the people that's in competition, because now it gives you ability to learn and grow faster, as opposed to defeating somebody. It's very, very Zen, very Eastern philosophy, but I kind of live by that. So for me, it's always been like the growth of the channel has been because I spend time on it, and I enjoy interaction with fans. I mean, I'm really pleased that in my community, we have my online community. It's just they are so compassionate. They are so kind-hearted and friendly. Like, we rarely have somebody come on and stir, and we'll have thousands of people come on. I got a live stream today at 3:00. Rarely do we have thousands of people show up to a live stream, but rarely do we have any problems. And when we do, it's like we have all these white blood cells descend on it. Stop, and I say, look at you. All right, it's fine. You're forgiven. Just don't say it again. If you persist, I'm going to have to boot you out of here. I get it. People want attention. People want to feel important. No one feels heard. No one feels important. Like everything is above us, you know, and that's always something I wanted to provide the fans with from day one. Because I remember this as a kid. I remember seeing that the world is so much bigger than me, and how do I get access to this big important stuff that I buy, like, you know, like Activision and video games and Call of Duty. So I've always treated myself as sort of as a poor man's conduit to something larger. Like the guys who have these huge YouTube channels and Instagram channels, they have instant access to everything because they have millions of followers. But smaller channels, they really get the opportunity to get in touch with something that, oh, they're part of that. So it's like accessibility. You know, it's about giving accessibility to the fans, and I think that's why the channel's kind of taken off, because I just give, you know, people have access. You know, I try to read everything. I respond as much as I can, and I try to just make people feel like they're important. So because they are, you're important. We're all important. You know.
James, listen, thank you very much for letting us do the interview. For someone that's done so much, you are very humble. Like you were just saying, you know, you talk to the fans as much as possible. It's just such a great. It's an honor to be able to talk to you right now and do this.
Pleasure's all mine, man. Thank you for reaching out. Thank you for being such a well-versed gentleman, and thank you for the research. Because sometimes, again, people have no idea what I've done. It's like I gotta, okay, well, you know, there is this. I did this and did that. So it's nice to have people do their homework. I appreciate that.
No worries, man. Look, thank you very much. I really do hope we get you on again in the future. We can talk about some more of your projects that you're doing and your upcoming projects in the future as well.
Love to. All right, man.
No worries. Thank you, James.
Peace and love. Bye-bye.